Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com. I'm woefully behind on my memory planning. Let's play a little catch up. All right, so as I mentioned, I'm super behind, like back to September. So we're going to do a little catch up. We're going to cover the last couple weeks of September today, and then I will try desperately to get caught up by the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. I went through a time where I didn't have very many photos. So for instance, on this week, I do have 8 photos, but the last week of September, only 3 photos from that week. And so we're going to kind of see how we can fill in the space. And today we're going to use scraps. I have a ton of scraps from the Hip Kit Club. So we're just going to see what we can play with, put these pages together, and make it a little less daunting. So let's make it easy. Let's go through this. I will link things that I used down below, but like I said, I'm just going to pull from my stash. So I highly recommend you do the same. Let's do it. All right, so can we talk about the concept of finishing the drill? Just getting a project done. I think at times we can be at odds with that as creative people because we want to do what we are inspired to do. And I totally support that. I don't want to do projects that I don't enjoy doing, but there are some projects that I just want to push through and get done. And that's kind of where I am with memory planning right now. I've enjoyed memory planning and I've done it. This will be the second full year, but I've done it for like 2.5 years. And at this point in my creative stage and my family stage, I'm finding it overwhelming to be doing. I did not used to feel it like that. It just changes over time. That's what happens with our creativity and our creative projects. There are some things that come really easily at some points, and there's some things that start to feel a little bit more tedious at other points. And that's kind of where I am with memory keeping. In the past, or with other types of projects, my inclination would be to just put it aside. Just come back to it when you feel like it. Don't force the issue. But with something like memory planning, especially because we're getting towards the end of the year, I'm more inclined to just push through to try to finish it. Let me know what your thoughts on that concept are. I know there's sometimes, so for instance, maybe you are a card maker and you like to make all of your cards for the holiday season. It might feel really good and really exciting and really invigorating to create those cards as you start, maybe in September, as you start working on those cards. But as you are wrapping them up in November or December and you've made a ton of cards, there might be a time where you're like, I just don't want to make another Christmas card. However, you might still have 10 people on your list, and so you push through to finish that project. It might not be creatively satisfying at that point, but I do know there is satisfaction from actually finishing a project. And I think that's kind of the satisfaction I'm seeking with this memory planning for the end of this year. I love looking at my memory planning. My kids love looking at my memory planning. But this end of the year, in all honesty, has just been so busy. It's hard to keep up. The week that I only have 3 pictures, it's not because we didn't do anything that week. It's because we had so much going on that week that we were just running around like chickens with our heads cut off. It was so hard to get anywhere or anything and just remember to capture the moment on photo. It was a lot. So that's kind of where I am with memory planning at the moment. I want to finish a drill. Of course, I relax into it. Here's what's happening with me personally. As I'm approaching working on my memory planning, it feels a little bit overwhelming because I'm behind, feels stressful. As I actually start the process of documenting on these specific pages, it does relax me. So it's not like this is a terrible thing and I hate doing it, because I absolutely don't. I do enjoy the process and I do enjoy doing it. It's just starting to feel daunting to even take it on. Let me know if you can relate. Let me know your thoughts on the subject. Let me know if you want me to explore this a little bit more, because I think it's something that we don't talk enough about as creatives. There are times that we run into a wall of sorts with our creativity, whether it be creativity in general, whether it be with a specific project or a specific hobby. There's just times that it happens. And what do we do to work through those times? I think that is a really valuable subject for us to discuss. All that to say, you guys have seen me working on this page. I did a huge piece of scrapbook paper in the back to make a really big impact for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's rainbow, so you all know I was definitely going to choose the rainbow scrapbook paper, and I love how it looks on the page. Second of all, it makes a huge impact and takes up a lot of space, so it saves me time in the end. I didn't have to do as much decorating. It gave me a lot of color, a lot of splash, and took up a lot of writing room, so I don't have to do quite as much writing room. That's actually one of the rules that I'm breaking for this particular these 2 weeks. Is normally I'm all about the journaling. I want to journal, I want to write what was happening that week, and it has now just, it's been too long. Right now I'm recording this in November, so while I remember the things that happened that week, I just want to do a quick documenting and then kind of move on. So I'm not hyper focused on the journaling like I would probably normally be in my documenting, and that makes me like, it feels good to just let it go so I can get the photos down on the page, get the memories captured, but it also makes me a little sad because I really do feel like journaling is an important part of the process. All right, I'm adding a few special little touches. This is actually from the Vicki Boutin Color Study Line Color Storyline. Color Study, I think that's what it is. Well, it's from Vicki Boutin. I love, love, love her lines just because they have a mixed media feel, and that's my jam, and she loves bright colors, also my jam. All right, just gonna add a little Go Braves here. We got a chance to go see a Braves game in person as a family at the end of September, and then some quick journaling. Like I said, I focused in the journaling just in a few journaling spots, so I still did the writing. I just didn't fill up quite as much space as I probably normally would. And that's going to be it for that spread. Now let's deal with this one. So this one, again, only 3 pictures. I have no idea what happened that week. It was just, if I look back in my regular planner, I know it was a crazy week. So that means we got to make a big impact on this page in another way. Again, scrapbook paper is fabulous for taking up space, making a big colorful impact. What I'm going to do is create a horizontal stripe down the middle of the page by filling in that middle row of boxes. So I measured the boxes, which are just over 3 inches. I think it's like 3 1/4. And then I will, you'll see me measure again so I can measure the width as far as the horizontal width of each side so that it fits in. I have to do a little trimming. I'm not super exact all the time on my measuring. So let's fill in both those sides, measuring this side as well. And that's going to give kind of an anchor for where the photos are going to live. It's going to take up a big chunk of space where there won't necessarily need to be any writing or any decoration. So that's going to help kind of solve two problems as far as I maybe don't have a ton to write, and I also want to decorate as quickly as possible because, again, when you're playing catch up, sometimes it just feels good to get pages done. I don't necessarily want to spend a ton of time doing a bunch of detail on all these pages. I just want to get those photos down. All right. 3 photos. We're going to mat them because I don't have very many. We're going to do a really big mat on each of these photos. And not only are we going to do a big mat on the photos, but we're going to create clusters. We're going to layer paper behind them. We're going to make the photos as big as possible, taking up as much space as possible because it just brings more focus. You only have 3, so you get to celebrate those 3 in a different way than you would if you had 15 pictures for 1 week, which I've also had extremes like that. I think that is one of the fun things about memory planning is kind of working within those extremes because we all have weeks where we have a ton, we all have weeks where we only have 1 or 2, and you want it all to feel balanced in your book. So you can see that I'm just layering some different scrapbook paper pieces. Some of it I'm tearing, some of it is cut into rectangles and squares and things like that. So we're going to get all of those down on the page as I'm doing clusters. Here's my technique for making sure the cluster stays like I want it. I pick up the top photo, put plenty of adhesive on the back, and then I stick it down on top of the pile of scraps behind it. It picks up what it can, and then I just add more adhesive behind it. So I hope that makes sense. It creates the cluster, allows it to kind of come together just a little bit easier. All right, so I wanted to add something a little extra. I'm looking through my Felicity Jane tags. I have a bunch of tags. We're going to see if we can use a few of these to make an impact on the page. At first, I thought maybe I'll look for florals. I didn't really have florals that I wanted to include on this page that I thought went really well. So I thought the tags would be slightly unexpected and still a fun addition. It's going to be kind of a more minimalist page than maybe I am typically. Uh, that's my typical style, but I think that's okay every now and then. I think it still captures what happened during the week, still gets those stories down. And I get to still have fun being creative in this way and playing with these supplies without the pressure of having to do a ton of extra little, I don't know, little details all the time. Since we are kind of doing a stash video, I did dig into my sticker stash. These are Jen Hadfield stickers. I've had these forever and they just have a little bit of a fall feel. So we're just going to include a few of those. They do add the extra layer of detail, some like finer moments, some smaller moments because the photos are big, the tags were big. It's nice to have a few smaller stickers mixed in. I'm going to add those and then I will go ahead and do the journaling lines, add a few journaling moments and journaling stories, and then that's going to be it for these memory planning spreads. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you do when you're kind of at the end of a project and you're losing steam on that project. What are some of the things you do to try to push through? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. As always, I will link all of the supplies I used down in the description box below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. We have had a whirlwind of a few months over on Patreon, and we would love for you to join us for the end of the year. It's a lot of fun things going on. It's a growing community of crafty people that are just there to support you and cheer you on. So if you want to check it out, you can find the link to Patreon down in the description box below. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.